Welcome back to NCHANZPLACE, and it's another stature review, and today I welcome Eddie Brock to my collection. This is Prime 1 Studios Venom Dark Origins. So basically he's very massive, so let's see if this piece really lived up to its hype, and also we'll be checking out this why this is a Todd McFarlane head for this piece, and why if this is really worth getting. This exclusive head is really worth getting. So keep watching. If you like the video, click the thumbs up and help me share with everyone. And if you like weekly pop culture videos, subscribe to my channel, The NCHANZPLACE. So to start with, let's have some information regarding this piece. This is actually a collaboration between Prime 1 Studios and Sideshow. It actually has an exclusive edition and a collector's edition, so that's why I think you can buy this in Prime 1 Studios online store. You can buy this in Sideshow website. For the exclusive, it's already waitlisted, and it has an edition size of 1000. And it has a price tag of $899.99. So this is already waitlisted for the exclusive. The collector's edition, you can pre-order that one. So in here also, like I mentioned earlier, we'll be discussing if it is worth getting the exclusive part. And yeah, so another information is that the height is somehow like I tried to measure. It's around 31 inches, almost the same as the one in Sideshow website, and the width is actually 26. And the depth is, I think I tried to measure, it's around almost including the tongue. Maybe I didn't measure this one, but it was around like 16 or 17. In Sideshow website, it's around 18 inches. But nonetheless, this is actually a very massive piece. It actually has 2 boxes when it arrived, and also it's very heavy. And yeah, I even had a very hard time basically how would say, like, really attaching it or assembling it, because one is very big, and I was very scared because it was very heavy. And the bad part is actually the, how would say, the assembly guide was no use at all. I'm sorry, Prime 1. I think you need to do good, and maybe next time do a good job on making some good instructions in your guide. It was very hard. I really didn't understand. I was really scared that I missed something in the box. So but nonetheless, I was able to finish assembling it, and it looks really good. I really like it though. So before we continue to more in the details, I'd like to discuss first on the topic regarding the exclusive head. So is this really worth getting? This Todd McFarlane head, is it really that important to this piece? So in order to explain that, and in order to give a realization, I have a friend who actually told me that you got this from Sideshow website, bought it with the shipping, tax and everything. It's a bit more expensive in the end, but I asked also to myself, is it really worth getting this one? So in order to answer that one, we go to I read the comics, the Venom Dark Origins, and I actually at that time I was even skeptical of this one, because there's already 3 heads, and is it really worth in having this? So when I read the book, the Dark Origin is actually not about like a very dark origin of the Venom symbiote, those kind of things that were literally like a bloody comics. It's really not like that, but it's a story about how Venom is transformed into this thing, and it actually comes from the past, on how Eddie Brock's past shaped him and even shaped the Venom that we see right now. So that is actually the story of the dark origin, and it's not something literally dark or bloody or gorish, but it's about how the twisted mind of Eddie Brock, not really twisted like a serial killer, maybe not into that level yet, but nonetheless it was a dark one, really schemy kind of personality from Eddie Brock. And it's not actually related to any of it, but any of this one for that story, but it actually, if you look at the comics, when I saw the comics and I see some pages or panels, I saw one thing. I saw this grin of Eddie Brock, and it actually for me is somehow like the origin of how this face, the Todd McFarlane face, came to be. The smile, the Venom smile, that very schemy, let's say, smile from Venom. That one is actually a good, let's say, addition to this origin story, and it actually shows. It seems like the comics or Marvel created a backstory of this face, and it's actually pretty good. I'm not sure. I'm not sure if this is actually what is intended for, but damn, that was a really good realization for me. And then I realized, yeah, this Todd McFarlane head actually makes sense, and it actually is the thing that the story is actually about, that how Venom shaped, and even this face had shaped and through the years, and they really, Marvel created the backstory of that one. And I would say this is actually a good addition as an exclusive part, because it actually, like, let's say, the maybe the whole point of the story, it created the face of Venom. So that is actually quite good. So let's go to the details regarding this piece. So as I mentioned earlier, this is actually very massive, very big in terms of dimension. Regarding the base, as you know, I am not really a fan of very big bases, and if you think about it, this is actually a very big base, but it's actually, is it really big in proportion to this one? I would say no. So the base is just somehow elevated, and it's not really like all over the place. Regarding the tubes actually, somehow it just gives you a very good cylindrical something in the back, and also even the bigger one, it's his hand is actually touching it or holding it, so it's not really consuming a lot of it, but nonetheless it's actually really a big base. It's just that at least this gives it an easier way for me to somehow move it a bit, let's say wiggle, or let's say find a way to make sure it still fits in the collection. It did good. That's a good thing. So again, I'm not really a fan of the very big base. Is it too much for the piece? I wouldn't say no, because as you can see, the base is really big. I mean Venom is really big, so that's why it's a bit okay for me, and it's not actually something that in terms of wide, or it's too the depth is too big or something like that, so that it's very hard to fit in. But I think the base is good. The details in it is also quite good, to be honest. It's really good. I was really surprised. What I don't like also is that these spiders. This spiders is very scary, that they might fall off. The magnets are there though, but they're very scary, and I'm really afraid that I feel that they're very fragile, because they have these legs. And let me try to get one. So it's these spiders. Look at that. They look also very ugly. They're like Venom spiders. They actually looks good. They have some texture as well. They have a very good paint job. But again, I'm always afraid of this, because they're fragile. They have fragile pieces. There are two of them, and when I moved, I even removed this guy, so that at least I'm sure that they will not fall off. So is it necessary to have them? For me, no. I know that in the comics some parts they're there. I saw some spider there, but I really don't feel the need that they have to be there. Also the webs are actually quite good. They are actually very nicely done. I do wish that they're thinner. Here it's a bit like, it's almost like the symbiote, but it's because it's thick. I do like the design that they're translucent. That's really good. So that is regarding the base. There's actually different parts of the base as well. Going up further, the Venom itself, there are actually things that I like about this design with regards to the symbiotes. What I don't like is actually they're somehow like these pieces are placed on top, and I'm not really that fan of it, to be honest, because if you can see here, they are, for me, you can see that they're just placed on top. I really do wish that they like you won't see this seams. Like I really wish that it would be something like really like integrated them, like it's really like coming out from him. But here you can actually see that they are just placed on top, and that's what I don't like about the design of this. Maybe not really the design, maybe I guess the execution of this one, because again you can really just see them like on top like that one, and you just place them on top and you can see the seams here. They're not fully integrated them or really like suited up with them. That's the bad thing. But if you are far away and your room is dark, you wouldn't really see the different color tones of this piece, and you would not even notice this. For me, that's why the good thing from my side is I always like it to be, I would say, dark in my collection room, and then for this one, it's actually looks very good from the distance when you are checking it or looking at it. So that's why for me that's fine. As you can see, that's why I made my lighting all white, so that you can actually really see this kind of things, and you would really see that, or emphasize, I would emphasize that they are just basically placed on top and not really well hidden or really well integrated in the piece itself. But again, that does not even comes close that if I don't like this piece. I definitely love this piece. This is the Venom for me. I had the XM1, I sold it. I went for this one because I want my Venom to be that bulky looking monster, spider monster, and I really do like that one. I like the face, I like the texture, I like the body. Look at that body, it has very nice texture in it. I really like the musculature. It's not the typical big guy. He's somehow deformed, I do agree, but in the comics it's also like that. He's also there, and even in the comics you will see that he was trying to open and make this smile when he was a Venom, and all this teeth comes out and everything, and he at that point he was already like deformed, and this is why I like this one. What I'm also not really a fan of, I always this ugly dudes, these small Venoms. It is also in the comics, but anyway, I mean, it's okay that they're there, but all I really want is that really the Venom itself, the detail in this, the fiber sculpts here, in his neck, really good. This was actually some didn't really like this one. They said that this was very small here, or this here is very small. And what I also really like about this piece, to be honest, is that before Prime 1 mentioned that they want this piece to be both in half. That means there's a seam at the back, and they really tried or made an engineering out of this one to really make that happen, that this will be one piece, and that is actually really amazing. What I didn't like with the one from, I guess from, how would I say, the one that Sideshow, again I do agree, it's like a berry, I do not know, it doesn't look really nice to me. It's not that appealing. I know I haven't seen it in person, but I'm not just really a fan of that one. The XM1, it's too basic. It's a Venom that is actually what I know when I see the cartoons. But what I also didn't like for that one is that when they fixed the leg where the Venom was there, for me it was poorly executed. They just put something there so that the Venom would, I do not know, like stand up straight a bit. That one was poorly executed. I really didn't like that one. I didn't like that solution. So this one, I have to say, Prime 1 really did something way beyond, and that is really good. And again, this is really good piece, really massive. What I really don't like is the manual or the guide on how to assemble this. I mean, it's, how would say, it's for me it's very useless. I am sorry, but it didn't really help. It helped only in knowing the pieces. It really didn't help how to assemble. but nonetheless it was an exciting time for me. So going further up, the head sculpts are really good. I showed in the other head sculpt, and this which is the Todd McFarlane, and there's another one which is this. So there's actually 3 head sculpts. These are very ugly dudes here, but I really do like them. Sometimes I also change them from time to time, just to have some fun out of that. So this is Prime 1 Studios Venom Dark Origin, and he's one hell of a piece. So for the ratings, basically for the paint, quality wise, I'm giving this a 4.5. The paint job, at the beginning I really thought that the paint job was superb, quality was very good, but eventually I saw some parts that has this shiny gloss parts, but they're not very consistent. In my understanding, they're supposed to be together with the veins, but they're not properly or beautifully done. The execution wise is not that, it's not there, it's not really that perfect. So I'm just giving this a 4.5 for quality paint. Regarding color, I'm giving this 5, definitely 5. I really like the color scheme. I like the sewer theme. I like how the base looks like, or how it's painted, really nicely done. I also like how the Venom itself, the paint job in it is very good. I really like the color, and also the tongue, all the red, the teeth, nicely done in terms of paint job with regards to color. So I'm giving it 5.0. Weathering wise, again, I'm very particular in weathering, especially in the feet, because he's walking in the sewer. I didn't really see that it's really that dirty or something. Other than that, all the weathering parts is really good. Even somewhere in the tongue, near his gums, it's really nicely done, very beautifully done. Also some parts in his hands, also quite good. Again, I really wish that there were more in his feet, and even also in his hands, basically because it's in the sewers or something. But everything else, weathering is very good, and that's why I'm giving it a 4.5 for weathering. Shadows and highlights, definitely 5. As you can see, even the base has shadows and highlights. The muscle itself, the Venom itself, has beautiful shadows and highlights, so I'm giving it a 5.0. For sculpt quality, I'm giving it a 4.5 because one, the seams for this symbiote is too obvious. If you look at it, you will see it right away, especially in some parts of the back. That's also very obvious if you really look at it at the back. But the good thing is that it's at the back, so you wouldn't see it in front, or you wouldn't see it that much in front. Again, in terms of quality, I guess the execution for this one is not that good for me, and it also affects some other parts or other ratings. So I'm only giving the sculpt quality as 4.5. Other than that, everything sculpt wise is very good. That's why texture, I'm giving it a 5.0. Really beautiful texture in these muscles, really good. The feel is really like solid, you know. So that's why I'm giving texture as 5.0. Weight and size, definitely 5.0. He's big, he's very heavy. And with regards to details and complexity, I'm also giving it a 5.0. The details of which is very good. Look at the tongue, look at this one, it's very nicely done. The ones, if you look at also inside, it is also very, inside his mouth is also very beautifully done. The teeth is beautifully done. This part is also beautifully done. The detail there is really good. So that's why I'm giving a 5.0 for detail or complexity. Regarding to the design, I do like the Venom Dark Origins now, after knowing it, after reading it, and I really do understand. It's like this one, it's also a very good reference for Venom. But again, what I really am not, keen of is, one is the very big base, also the, I would say, this big spiders is really unnecessary. This tiny Venoms, that one I can live with, but again, with regards to this one, I do wish they have made it more, let's say, with something like it's really hidden. The seams are not that obvious. I really do wish it was like that, but yeah, I guess that's also that would become very more complicated. But again, I really do wish it was like that. So I'm only giving the design for 4.0. With regards to displayability, I can display him. It's not that easy, so I'm only giving it 4.0 for displayability. Assembly, this is the lowest one. This is 3.5 because again, it's very hard to assemble and it's very scary to assemble with all the parts. And there's even some parts that are not really snug inside. I think there's one somewhere here. It's not properly snugged in, so that's why I'm only giving the assembly as a 3.5. And switch outs and or mixed media, definite 5, because the switch out is very good. The mixed media like this one, also the webbings really nicely done, so I really like that one, so I'm giving it a 5.0, especially to the exclusive switch out head. That one is actually a very nice touch from Prime 1. So those are the rating, and I hope you do like this one. I hope that you can still find an exclusive. Now it's waitlisted, maybe you might get a chance. So this is Prime 1 Studios Venom Dark Origins.